Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lapinder. It's good having you back with us. July 1st marking the start of the new fiscal year, one that brings with it some tax reliefs. As Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest announced in the House of Assembly late May, this includes home refrigerators of 18 cubic feet or smaller and stoves 30 inches wide or smaller, which are now both duty-free. The duty on household furniture has also been decreased from 45% to 25%. Pens, pencils, crayons, school rulers and chart papers are also duty-free. However, revenue-raising measures will not take effect for another few months, like the increase in cruise permit fees and charging value-added tax on online marketplaces. In other news this evening, St. Anne's MP Brent Simonet keeping a very low profile since his big announcement, that is his resignation as a cabinet minister in the Minnis administration. Mr. Simonet did, however, tell our news team he plans to have a press conference sometime this week. Now, while up to this point no reason has been given for Mr. Simonet's resignation, his decision to do so comes on the heels of the opposition charging in the House of Assembly that Bahamas Hot Mix, which has some links to Mr. Simonet, was awarded the contract to upgrade 2 runways at the Lyndon Pinling International Airport. Just last year, the government moved the General Post Office to the Town Centre Mall, in which Mr. Simonet acknowledged he owns shares. Now, this is not the first time Mr. Simonet has resigned as a cabinet minister. He did so under the Ingram administration. Assuming his cabinet portfolio this time around is Yamacraw MP Ellsworth Johnson, the now former State Minister of Legal Affairs. In a brief statement, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis thanked Mr. Simonet for his service to the country. Well, fellow F&M MP Frederick McAlpine among those awaiting the explanation behind Mr. Simonet's decision. The Pine Ridge MP telling our news team if it's revealed the resignation was because of a conflict of interest, he supports the move.
Obviously, I would say so. If it is as a result of a conflict of interest, in the minds of some Bahamians, there was a conflict of interest already when it comes with regards to the post office. So, yeah. And you know, when you want to do business, perhaps to the level of that volume of business, then, you know, things become difficult for you as a person in the government or particularly a person in the cabinet.
Meantime, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis, who feels the resignation is long overdue, charging that there are others who need to follow. Mr. Davis is calling for a complete and thorough investigation and report of all the ex-cabinet minister has accumulated during his latest tenure in office. The Democratic National Alliance is meantime calling the resignation too little too late. For DNA Chief Arenthia Komolafe, there needs to be retribution and repayment of all taxpayers' money that have been siphoned into the coffers of cronies and party loyalists. The DNA is calling for the implementation of campaign finance legislation, a Freedom of Information Act, and a whistleblower legislation. Meantime, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis today led a delegation to St. Lucia for a 3-day CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Discussions will center on security, the worsening situation in Venezuela, blacklisting, and the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, or CSME. Caribbean leaders will also speak on regional tourism and finance. While in St. Lucia, the Prime Minister will meet with the Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg, to discuss matters of mutual interest. Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest will serve as Prime Minister in Dr. Minnis' absence. The Prime Minister, who's accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister Darren Henfield, Tourism Minister Dionisio D'Aguilar, and High Commissioner of the Bahamas to CARICOM, Ruben Ramming, returns on Saturday, July 6. The government may have an issue on its hands in the Prime Minister's absence. The Bahamas Taxi Cab Union's ready to up the ante. Union President Wesley Ferguson telling our news team that since the impromptu meeting with Transport Minister Renwood Wells outside Cabinet back in May, there's been no communication.
What we have to do now is to give the government a final opportunity, and that's what I put. We're going to reach out to them one more time. And then after that, we're going to have a massive shutdown between the Disney drivers and the taxi drivers. And like we're going to culminate the whole back and forth with the government. So that's a massive shutdown one day soon.
Mr. Ferguson claims the union has made countless attempts to reach out to the minister to no avail. The union's looking for the government to give a set date for the moratorium on taxi plates to be lifted, the change of the rental car plates, and issues at the Road Traffic Department. The plans out to the government one last time. He plans to reach out to the government one last time on Tuesday. That deadline may have to be pushed down, though, as Minister Wells is out the country until July 16th. He left the capital yesterday for Tel Aviv, Israel, and London, England. While in Israel, the minister is scheduled to meet with the Israeli government for support for the Bahamas' continued presence on the International Maritime Organization's Group C Council. He will also attend the Global Conference on Maritime and National Development. In England, he'll attend meetings as head of delegation for the IMO's re-election 2020 campaign. Minister Wells will also attend the independence celebrations in honor of the 46th anniversary of independence of the Bahamas in London on July 10th. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.